Are Americans dumb? Are they illiterate? Are we a bunch of idiots? That's the question I'm here to answer today. Because according to a Vox, America's literacy crisis isn't what you think. So I did the job for you of reading this article to see what it was actually talking about. It's actually quite fascinating. So in the article, it states that reading comprehension hasn't really declined. Like the scores of literacy on the tests where they gauge people's literacy hasn't really declined at all since they started. You've seen a slight decline, but not so much that it makes them go like, Americans are illiterate. Where the decline has happened is reading and reading comprehension. And understanding and recognizing reliable sources and even searching for external sources. That is where the decline has happened drastically over the last several decades. So the big thing that they fear is the fact that kids today aren't reading for pleasure, for whatever reason. And they don't really know what the root cause is, whether it's the introduction of smartphones, of apps like TikTok, YouTube, etc. But it could also be a destruction of our education system, the book bans, etc. But there has been a decline in reading as pleasure outside of the academic setting. And because of that, the skills that you gain from, you know, reading, critical thinking, gaining new vocabulary, being introduced to new thoughts and outside worlds and different ways of thinking have declined because people now seem to prefer to get their information from TikTok videos and shorts on YouTube rather than books. But the consequence of that is I guess kids today are more susceptible to mis and disinformation. Which I mean, like, it's hard to say like, yes, when it seems like a lot of people older than me are susceptible to dis and misinformation, and so it's hard to critique the children of today when the people who grew up during the greatest time in America also tend to be extremely illiterate and buy into the lies of a megalomaniac. And you know what I mean? Not everyone's a test taker. Not everyone's great. There's one test that they kind of give worldwide to gauge like literacy and comprehension, and the United States scores drastically lower than most other countries. That I'll give them. We have yet to have a woman or a woman as a world leader. Most countries, even ones that are seen as more conservative than us, have even had that. Even the good old fashioned Brits, the stiff upper lip Brits, the ones who conquered half the globe and, historically have been extremely racist. I've had female leaders before we did. Is there a problem? Absolutely. If we recognize a problem, we should then work to correct it. Obviously, and that's to say, one, yes, read for pleasure. That is great. But it's also about analyzing the media that we do, in fact, see. You know what I mean? Even if you choose to not necessarily read for pleasure, you should still be able to gain those skills to analyze the videos, the movies, the video games, and whatever else you're doing to understand the greater context beneath them. But I think the way to solve that is honestly by people like me getting into politics. And guys, don't make me do it, but the millennials like me and like so many people here, we kind of need to get involved. We can't leave the world to the baby boomers and the Gen Xers, and if the generations beneath us are apparently dumber than us, then we can't leave it to them yet either. We need to make them smarter first. I don't wanna. Can I do it from my bed? Can we do it after the hours of 10 a.m. and we're done by the hours of like 4 p.m.? Then maybe I'll do it. Then maybe I'll run for, election.